Traveling with Blaze has been such a gift over the past 6 months of full-time van life. However, there have definitely been some challenges that we have faced. In today's video, I'm going to share with you the pros and the cons and any of the tips or things that I do to address the challenges. Let's jump into it. Let's start with the cons first, and the first one is the amount of physical activity that Blaze needs. She is an extremely active, physical, and curious 3-year-old dog. She is a lab beagle mix and has a nose that just works for miles and miles and miles. So trying to balance work and chores and self-care for myself and all of Blaze's activity can be a bit of a struggle. Similar to when I lived in an apartment, she usually gets about 4 walks a day. 2 of those are usually 1 to 2 miles, if not longer, especially if we're doing a hike somewhere. And the other 2 are usually potty breaks. She is also outside a lot of the time when the weather permits, out on a line or a lead so that she can be outside. She'll soak up the sun and everything, explore, and just take in the sounds and the landscape just like I do. However, keeping her exercise so that she can remain calm and focused is very time and labor intensive. Each of those 1-mile walks could take 20 to 30 minutes or longer, right? She does a lot of nose work, and with her having a beagle or a hound breed in her, she is always sniffing the ground like most dogs. But with that hound in her, she is always sniffing. So every mile, every potty break, every time outside when we are together takes time. And so I'm always trying to balance that. The 4 ways that I manage her energy and exercise is I will often take her to a dog park. We have seen some amazing dog parks and we have seen some not so nice ones, but that's okay. It's part of the joys of traveling. And I will take her there usually in the afternoon before it gets super busy. I don't like dog parks when they get busy. They just get congested and the tension starts to elevate, and we try to avoid them during those times. The other thing that we use are lick pads, and I really like this West Paw Rumble bouncy ball. I will put cheese in here and let her lick them out, peanut butter, stuff like that. These are great. The third way that I work with her and try to get any anxiety or stress out is obedience training. I will do it in the van, we will do it outside, I do it when I give her her food, and anytime we're on trail. I want her to be well-mannered and respectful when we're on trail, so I will often do training there as well as recall training, just to make sure that that recall is as strong as it possibly can be, or 100%, which we're not there yet, but hopefully we're getting closer. The 4th way that really exhausts her and fulfills her and makes her feel more content is playing in water. She absolutely loves lakes and rivers. She's not one to go swimming in them per se, but she will bounce through them, leap through them. She's kind of like a bouncing deer or a jumping deer through the water for some reason. She just is not a swimmer, but she loves the water. So I will often take her 15-20 minutes to go play in water, and we're good. Of course, I've got to dry her off and make sure that she's not, carrying in a lot of dirt and grime, but if she's happy, I'm happy. The second con that we face is odd feeding times. When you're living a stationary life and you have regular daily rituals or schedules, it's much easier to maintain a consistent feeding time or feeding times for your pets. When you're traveling full time, that becomes a bit more of a challenge. And that's because sometimes, the checkout time for a campground might be 10 a.m. or 11 or 12. Or if it's dinner time, but we just arrived at a campground or a campsite of any sort, she may not be hungry because we were on twisty roads. So navigating that is challenging, and I try to, if I know that we're going to be in a space for a certain amount of time, or at least for that day, I will definitely feed her in the morning, and then also in the evening, of course. If I know that we're going on a super squirrely road, I will not feed her because I don't want to deal with the consequences of said squirrely road and a full tummy. My history as a dancer and a yoga teacher has trained me to be the best contortionist that I can possibly be. Just kidding. Living and sleeping in, yes, it's almost a king-size bed, still means that I am a contortionist when it comes to navigating around her. She is very resistant to get up and move so that I can take up space in the bed. And maybe that's something that we should work on, and I failed as a dog parent, maybe. But still, I am a contortionist, and I think this applies no matter if you're in stationary life or, live in a tin can with 4 wheels. Is if you allow your pet in the bed, you will most likely navigate or maneuver your body around them, because in most cases they refuse to move. So if you have any tips for how to navigate that, please put those down in the comments below. The fourth con is the extreme amount of fur and dust that the van collects. And it's not all because of Blaze, because I bring in a lot of dust when we are driving down dusty Forest Service, National Bureau of Land Management land, or we're going through a dust storm. Dust is going to collect in the van, right? But it is a constant challenge, and having a dog who always is shedding is frustrating at times, but requires that basically I sweep and I vacuum nearly every day. Usually it's about every other day that I am doing those 2 activities. And I love my new vacuum cleaner. This little guy. It's a rechargeable USB-C and works great. I'll put a link to it down below, an Amazon affiliate link, so if you decide to purchase one, I'll get a little bit of a cut and it will help support the channel. But yeah, this thing is great. It has just a regular speed and then a boost or extreme speed. It also has a light. There it is. Got a light. And yeah, it's great. It also has reusable, washable filters, which I need to clean this one before I do anything with it. Highly recommend a small vacuum cleaner. The other way that I tackle this con is I am constantly shaking out the blankets. I have two like lap blankets. This is a yoga blanket, and then I have like this quilted. It's got just regular fabric and then a fleece fabric, which is super cozy when it's cold. I am constantly shaking these out to get the fur out. I have been known to take the duvet cover out and shake that out too. Anything I can do to keep the fur down to a minimum is key. The other 2 things that I do is I will switch out the sheets every 2 weeks. We are actually due to go to the laundromat in the next day or so, and so I will pull the sheets off, put a new set on, and then wash everything. That way I also have an extra set of sheets if I need it. And the last thing I do is I will brush her weekly, and I use like pet wipes anytime that she's super dirty, if she's playing in the mud or just chilling in the gravel or the dirt. Before she comes in the van, or before I at least let her get on any of the furniture, I will wipe her down using some of these wipes. This fifth con is a huge one. It is probably the biggest struggle, no matter if you're living life on the road with a dog or if you have a pet and you live in hot conditions or a hot environment. The challenge is that you should never leave your pet or a child or an adult, a human, in a hot vehicle. We all know this, and yet we still hear about pets and humans dying from heat exhaustion because they've been left in a vehicle unattended. That is no different when you live in a van. Yes, the van is insulated. Yes, I have windows and an exhaust fan and a 12-volt air condition, which I use regularly, as well as insulated window covers. However, many parks, national parks, campgrounds, national forests, anywhere really frowns upon leaving a pet unattended in a vehicle, no matter if it's insulated or not, right? Because they don't know what's in here unless they are peeking in. They don't know always that there is a 12-volt air condition unit running while she's in the passenger seat in her co-pilot seat. They don't know that it's insulated like twice, double layers of insulation all around this thing. And so I am always fearful that somebody is going to try to break in, report me to the police, report me to a business manager, and call me out on leaving her in a vehicle. The ways in which I navigate this, and you can choose if you want to use these or not, but this is how I do it. There are 10 ways. I am always checking the weather. If it's going, we travel with the weather. I prefer being in climates where it's anywhere between 50 and 70. If it starts to creep up towards 75 or 80 degrees, it is time to move. But when we are in a certain location, I am always checking the weather, one, just to be safe for us, and also I want to make sure if I've got to run errands that I'm doing it on the least hot day. And also the least hot time of day. I will run errands in the morning or in the late afternoon, not in the evening, because I don't typically travel after dark for a couple reasons, which I'll explain in a separate video. The next thing is my van comes with an app on my phone, so I can lock and unlock the vehicle, and I can do an auto start from anywhere. I don't have to be in close proximity to the van for the auto start or remote start, which has been great. So a lot of times when we are in particularly a national park where she's not allowed on trail, because there are a lot of those. Most national parks, she's allowed in campgrounds, she's maybe allowed on paved trails, and she's allowed on parking lots and roads, basically anywhere where you can take your vehicle. And that presents a challenge. So if I want to go through a national park, I'm basically doing a driving tour. She's not allowed anywhere that I want to go. If I want to go on a trail, she's probably not allowed. So the poor girl is stuck in the van, and that's when I use my remote start on my phone, and I also will lock her in here with the air condition on. So the van is running, the air conditioner is running. Sometimes I'll even turn the 12 volt if it's going to be super hot. When we were up in North Dakota last summer, and even South Dakota near the Badlands National Park, it was around 100 degrees, if not hotter, when I was able to travel throughout the park because of work hours. So I would have the vehicle running with the air conditioner on, and I would have the 12 volt running with the air conditioner on. That way the whole space was cool and she could move about if she so choose to. The other thing that I do is I monitor the temperature, the humidity, and the activity in the van with the use of a camera, this Govee thermometer and humidity monitor that I can access from Bluetooth and also wirelessly. Those have been game changers for me. I have left Blaze in the van with all the insulated window covers up, the camera's on, I can monitor the temperature from my phone, and then the air condition is on. Let's say I want to walk into town, I have definitely done that. When it is not too hot outside, I will leave the awning window open. I also have 2 of these 3D printed little window vents that I can put in the van windows, one on the passenger side, one on the driver's side, to let fresh air in. And then I will turn the exhaust fan on so that it can circulate air throughout the van when it's cool, when it makes sense. If it's too hot, I will not do that. She will be left in air condition. A lot of times if I need to do van chores, I will do them in the morning or in the afternoon. If I have to go grocery shopping, I almost always order ahead and do pickup. It's just easier, it's a massive time saving, and I also don't have to navigate a grocery store that I've never been to before. Even if it's a familiar chain, every grocery store layout is completely different, and it's so frustrating when you are going from location to location to location. So why not let them do the shopping so that you don't have to get frustrated or spend your time searching around. Another thing that I do is if I have to go into a store, I will park very far away from other vehicles just so that she is not distracted or making noise, barking at them. Ideally, we avoid that. And I will turn the cab of the van so that this driver's side, which the only window on the driver's side is the driver's side door, is facing the sun. That way, all of the heat is hitting this insulated side of the van that doesn't have any windows, and then this side of the van is basically not being hit by the sun. That is one way that I work around that. The other thing that I do is I will put up the insulated window covers, and in that case, she basically just goes to sleep. The other thing that I do is she always has access to water. Not that that will alleviate heat exhaustion if I were ever to leave her in here and it got super hot. That wouldn't matter from what I've read. But she does have access to water all the time. So those are my 10 tips or 10 ways that I address leaving her in here unattended. I'm curious, do you have any other tips and tricks that you use to feel like you are being a responsible pet owner, that you are respecting the ordinances or rules, and that you are just being mindful of her safety and health in general? If you have found this video helpful so far, please hit the subscribe button and like it. And if you want to share it, that would be super helpful too. Anything that you can do to support the channel is greatly appreciated. All right, let's talk about the pros. There are so many pros, and I can tell you that they far outweigh the cons. Blaze is an endless source of entertainment. She is still young. She's only 3 years old, just over 3 years old, And she has, like I mentioned earlier, she has a lot of energy, and she has goofy antics and just is hilarious at times. So when you live life on the road as a solo female, or a solo person in general, she is a great source of laughter and just plain old entertainment. The second pro is she provides a great source of security that no matter if I'm living stationary life or tiny life, tiny home on wheels life, she is a guard dog. She will always be a guard dog. She alerts me if something doesn't sound or feel right, whether we're in the van or on trail or in a campsite somewhere. She always knows. She's always listening, and she can hear better than I can. So I pay attention to her cues because she is always indicating, right? Ears perk up, tail does something, haunches go, like something. There's a telltale sign where something has her attention, and she is looking to see if she needs to alert me in a verbal way by barking. The other thing is that she is a massive deterrent. And because she is vocal, she is very vigilant. And if she sees something, a person approaching the van, standing outside of it, she will bark ferociously, which is such an amazing gift and sometimes an annoyance if I'm on a call for work. But I will take that. I will navigate that because I would rather have that extra layer of security than to not be aware that somebody is standing outside the van. Here's a prime example. The other day, we were getting ready for bed. I had put all the insulated window covers up except for the awning window. The awning window was open. Blaze was in bed, and I was sitting over here just scrolling through my phone, checking notifications, what I normally do before I put it on sleep and start to prep the van to go to bed. While I'm sitting there, I hear a vehicle driving through the campsite. I hear music, and I can smell pot, and I peer out the window. These under cabinet lights were on. I peer out the window, and I see the dash of the car. It's an orange lit up dashboard, and they are slowly creeping through my campsite. There was no need for that. They could have easily done a circle on this side of the van and not gone through my campsite at all. But instead, they did an entire lap around the van at 8:30, 8:40 in the evening. Who does that? Other than they may be looking for an opportunity to break in, or maybe they were curious, or maybe they were high and they felt like that was the easiest way to turn around the vehicle. I was on BLM land, and I had campers, other people were camping on both sides of me, but they were 100, 200, maybe 300 yards. I don't know specifically. They were pretty far away, so they wouldn't have seen it, nor would they have heard it because it was so quiet. Also, the car's lights were off. So tell me, were they up to no good? I think so. So I immediately got really quiet, turned off the lights. Blaze and I sat here. She was asleep. She did wake up, but they were creeping so softly that she didn't really alert me until I was like, what in the world is going on? So she finally was like, hey, wait a minute, what is that? So we're both peering out the window. And they make their way around the van, and I'm peering out the back window, I'm peering out the front window, I'm peering out this window to see, did they park the vehicle? Are they coming back? Are they going to approach the vehicle on foot? And if that's the case, I need to get out of here as quickly as I possibly could. Of course, I had been there for a long time, multiple days. I was there for a week. I had stuff everywhere. So I quickly started putting everything away so that if I had to leave that campsite, I could. And that's what I prepared for. My biggest fear was that they were going to come back later in the evening and that they were going to try to do something. So I wanted to make sure that if they did, I could drive away. Yeah, that is part of one of the massive challenges of living life on the road. It's also why having a dog is such a benefit. The third pro of having Blaze here with me is companionship. We are Velcroed at the hip the majority of the time, right? We spend 24/7 together. And that brings its own challenges. Sometimes I can get a little frustrated or impatient with her if she's sniffing too much and I want to go back to the van because it's cold outside like it was this morning. But otherwise, I have built-in companionship. She pretty much goes everywhere that I go. Right? She's on trail with me. We're playing in the water together. She can't go grocery shopping, but we're at the dog park together. We go on potty breaks together. We're in the van together. We're in the bed together. We're driving. She's in the co-pilot seat and I'm in the driver's seat. Like, we are always together. And she is such a good companion. I have a built-in hiking buddy. I have a built-in let's eat dinner together buddy. I have a built-in sleeping partner, whether I want it or not. I have a built-in co-pilot. I have a built-in snuggle bug. Like, she's such a great companion. The other thing, and we all know this too, is their unconditional love. Her unconditional love, her emotional support. If I am feeling emotional, sad, happy, she can pick up on all of that and read my energy and respond in a way that's going to be supportive. She is a massive snuggle bug. We are always in bed in the mornings, snuggling before work starts, and then in the evenings, if I'm knitting or editing or doing anything, she is always by my side snuggling with me. She's super sweet. She's very affectionate. If I sneeze, she comes running, and I'm not sure if she's there to support me or if I'm supposed to console her. Either way, she has an enormous amount of unconditional love, and it is such a blessing. The fifth pro is I get to experience the world through her eyes. Being that she is 3 years old and we've been together ever since she was 8 weeks old, I get to experience her, curiosity. If she's curious about a rock or a leaf or a cactus, which she's learned, I'm like, nope, don't do that. Or if she is playing in the water, or if she's on trail with me and she is off leash, she is one of the happiest dogs that I have ever seen. Seeing her happiness, her contentment, her sense of joy and fulfillment when she is connecting with other dogs or other humans brings so much joy to me. And I can see why people have dogs. Whether it's the companionship, the unconditional love, or experiencing the world through their eyes for the first time or the 100th time, it is such a gift. And I think if you find yourself, needing that, or if you're lacking that in your life in any way, get a dog. That's why they're such great companions. Those are the 5 cons and the 5 pros of life on the road with a dog. Let me know down in the comments if you have any questions. And I wanted to share with you, if you missed our van tour, it is right here. I would love for you to go check out that video next. All right, we'll see you next week. Take good care of yourselves.